Hello and welcome to the O'More Racing Network. I'm Colin O'More, and joining me today is Ruari Nerf O'More. Set up for 12 laps around the always eventful Autodromme De Interlagos. The first set of turns offer suspense no matter the class of cars.
Aye, Colin, we actually get to look at team and driver strategies here today. At least one pit stop to get fuel and tire compounds available medium and hard, both offering their own wear and grip.
That's right, Rory. Our weather forecast shows clear skies with zero chance for even clouds today, which starts seeing drivers pitting by lap 4 and as late as lap 9.
True, Colin. All depends on starting compound and fuel strategy.
Right you are, Rory. We're gearing up for the race start here. Drivers lining up for the rolling start. Green flag about to wave at any moment here. And away we go here. We have a really tight grid here today, as it should prove for a eventful and close race pace. Coming around T2 now. Fedmore still in the lead with Rafa pushing closely behind. On board now with Wicked Fast, who's just now made it around turn 3 and onto that fast straight here, coming up to the tight 90-degree corner. And if you go a little bit too wide, though, you're going to catch the curb and haphazardly spin.
Hey, Colin, I agree with that. You got to really keep your nose down and keep your throttle smooth.
Well, we'll have a look here today, and now back on board with Quasi Webbit and a Z4.
That's a beautiful looking car. It needs to be more prevalent here in the GT3 races.
Motorsport world. Now on board with
Fedmore's going a bit
Oh
there.
man, Fedmore D, who was in our race lead, going a little bit too wide there, trying to get a little bit too much speed into that corner. Out of that corner. Here's the onboard of that particular off-track moment.
As we see, he just comes a little bit pushing too hard. He needs to turn it back a little bit and really get in there.
Now we're coming into the tight hairpin now, still on board with Fedmore D, as he gets a little bit tail happy there towards the end of that corner.
Yeah, pushing too hard here.
And final corner of the lap here, coming up the hill onto the nice long straight. Zilrond in Rafa's slipstream, trying to see if he can make a move. We're still really early. I mean, it is lap 1.
That's true.
An eventful lap 1 at that.
Quite eventful.
T1 now. Oh, and it goes a little bit too wide there. I'm not sure if he was trying to push a little bit harder to try to keep Zilrond behind him, but it ultimately ended horribly as Zilrond got by and is now uncontested. Here we are on board with Zilrond during that moment.
Yeah, it goes.
Yep. I think he just missed his braking point a little bit too much.
He trying to push a little bit too hard to get into that first T1 there to try to keep ahead of Zilrond to try to get him out of his slipstream there.
Right you are, Rory. Now we're on board with Rafa, trying like crazy to chase down Zilrond O'More, who is...
He's definitely pushing hard. He's keeping his head down.
And the GT40 going a little bit too wide there. Tiago Basso and so many Fords.
Got the 5-second penalty there.
Nice view of the grid coming down that little straight there up to the technical S's. Oh my goodness gracious, Ariel. Pete Mitchell went right into the back of that Honda NSX.
Yeah, 4-second penalty there.
We're on board with this at that critical moment going into the back of him here. Looks like he's got a good line coming up. I think the Honda non-manual 1 got on the brakes a little bit too early, and that was the cause here. Let's take a look from non-manual's perspective. I think that's what we saw. He was carrying a little bit too much speed, had to brake a little bit too early, and unfortunately that put that Mercedes, Ariel Pete, right into the back of him and just messed his race up there. Hopefully we can see him get back into contention, as he had a pretty good race pace going on there.
I agree, Colin. I mean, he was definitely in contention to try to make his way further up the field.
Yes, he did drift a little bit. It costed him momentum, that's for sure. And now it looks like Quasi Webbit and him are going to drag race up this hill. Going a little bit wide, both of them trying to defend and overtake at the same time. Diego, is he going into the pits this early? We are on lap 2, and he's going into the pits. What a crazy call from his crew chief.
Bad move.
And as we're speaking about it, Rory, as a racing engineer, what in your opinion would be the best strategy here?
Well, Cullen, start on medium tires and push. Pit at the end of lap 6, fill up just over half tank. You'll need it to push towards the end, but pitting around lap 6 will give you the best grip throughout the race.
Sounds like a winning strategy, Rory. Of course, the best strategy is worthless without a good driver initiating those plans. Oh my goodness, we have Ray Downs coming into the back of Vandemar Kraup. I think Ray Downs failed on his braking point here as we are on board with Vandemar Kraup. We saw him have a wonderful braking line there, albeit a little bit early, but Ray Downs just comes into the back of him. Vandemar good about trying to keep onto the brakes, trying to get his car back under control, and Ray Downs just bumps into him again, and that is where Vandemar loses that Porsche going around those corners. Takes a big hit on his race pace. Hopefully he can get back up there. Back on board with Rafa Penho 84 trying in that Nissan GTR to catch up. They're on board with Mud. He went a little bit wide on T1 back there, picking up that penalty. And now serving that penalty, coming around the 90-degree corner here. Oh, clips the curb, gets on the power a little bit too hard, and there he goes. Spinning, spinning, spinning. Getting back onto the AstroTurf, trying to get back onto the track.
Yeah, pushed too hard and broke too late there.
There's really no grip on that AstroTurf. So here we see he looked like he had really good braking line coming in, a little bit slow, but not bad. Gets on the power just way too early there, even though he's got the traction control on, and he just spins. Wasn't able to keep it under control. Once you hit that curb and you're getting onto that power, you're going to spin. Those curbs do not help you out unless you're trying to coast through that, especially on that corner. And getting word now the stewards have disqualified
well, bad luck to him.
Mud 81X for his what they considered dangerous driving. If I was his team manager, I think I would be contesting that call, but he is off our race. Wicked pass going a little bit too fast around T1. Loses it. Goes a little bit wide here. Trying to avoid getting too hard into the back of Rafa. Carrying way too much speed into T1 there. Kind of punts Rafa a little bit, but doesn't really do too much in the way of race pace for Rafa. Able to keep it under control and get back under 2 very nice and smooth. As now Wicked Fast is under contention for P3. Looked like Fed Morris and him were almost at a drag race going 2x2 down T3 onto that straight. There was on board with Don Coco Teso, and now spins around T1. T1 always eventful, especially on this track here with that interesting technical S corner right here at the beginning.
It can prove a hazard for the drivers.
I'm back on board with Ford Morris D. Contention now, Wild Fast with Poop Gun.
Almost looks like we have another half-second penalty back there.
So as a race engineer, what kind of information do you analyze and how do teams utilize your findings for their strategies?
Colin, most of the time the engineers along with chiefs and managers come up with the strategies used on race day. Most of what we gather is how the car is performing, how to push, how much push it can take while remaining reliable, figuring out where car and driver are struggling or excelling. Then it's just about making sure the driver sticks to the strategy. Most drivers feel they know best though.
Sounds much more technical than what I originally imagined, far above my head, but thank you for the insight into the happenings behind our great sport. Fed Morris right in front of him here. Wicked fast, just trying to keep back put his head down and get back into contention from where he was. Again, he started in P2. Interesting to see so many drivers having traction control on here, as we saw Ray Downs go a little bit wide in that Porsche 911. Getting a half-second penalty there. Stewards on point with that one. Although they missed a lot, they sure like to give those half-second penalties out like candy. Back on board with Wicked Fast here, trying to make up ground, especially after Poop Gun got ahead of him.
Sorry, Colin, I'm just enjoying the race here.
Zilron coming up to the line here to end lap 5 and start lap 6. Almost halfway through our race here. So, Ruari, how did you get your nickname Nerf? Do you like to play with Nerf guns?
No, Colin, it doesn't come from that. Although I do enjoy them. No, it came from my driving days. I was a stock tower driver. I would bump draft the car in front to speed up. Then would use their. Then, when their use ended, I'd blow past. Nerf is a term used for bump drafting intentionally. Well, anyway,
you must have been extremely popular among the drivers.
It's not a good one.
I'm sure it's improved now. You're no longer behind the wheel and helping them to win races. Now we're back on board with Zilrond here. Looking at his tire wear here, he seems to be doing a pretty good job. A little bit low on his fuel. He's definitely going to have to pit at least for fuel. And we'll see when that happens and see who is going to take advice, or, well, who's going to match closer than anyone to the pit strategy you had laid out there, Rory.
Towards the beginning there. Yeah, it's up to the crew chief really, and depends on the team strategy.
And into the pits he goes. So on lap 6, end of lap 6, he's coming in. He's going back onto medium tires. He's at 33% now. Rafa Pinho following behind him. Sorry about that. And that Nissan GTR, both at the same amount of fuel. Zilron comes out with 61%, so just over halfway. Now with fresh tires, let's see where he's going to come out. Oh my goodness, a non-manual one. We were looking at the contention for P15 and it was getting pretty close. We thought non-manual was going to go by Nitro here, but they have a collision and he just about goes all the way into pit lane spinning. So as we see here, he goes into the wall and spins, almost going backwards into pit lane. So let's see a little bit more on board here and actually tell what happened here. So now Manuel's coming up. Looks like he got a way better exit than Nitro did. Nitro got a little bit tail happy. Coming on the inside of him here, looking to make a move going up the hill. And there's the contact. I'm not actually sure how that contact happened. It's definitely seemed intentional. And as now Manuel tries to get going, that is a heartbreak. And I'm sorry, I misspoke when I... Yeah, nope, I did not misspeak. I believe that was intentional there. If he was trying to go into the pits, he would have made his move into the pits long before then. As we see here, now Manuel's on the inside. He goes to take a wider line. I just don't believe that he was trying to go into the pits. I do believe that was an intentional hit on his part. And how did the stewards only give him a 2-second penalty off that? I think they need to have a closer look there and reevaluate their decision on that matter. Now on board with Zilron as he comes out in P5, as we see Rafa comes out in P7 behind Clutch 01 Reese. So Zilron having some ground to make up, goes a little bit tail happy there after that exit of that corner, coming into the technical S's here. Behind the Argentinian into the hairpin. And around the 90-degree corner, up the hill for the start of lap number 8 here.
I do like that Aston Martin though. Gonna make a move here.
Zilron still has some work to do. Onto the back of the Argentinian now. Looking like he's gonna make a move inside. He is. And Wicked Fast just looks like he had a little bit of a brake issue there. Trying to brake a little bit too hard. Coming up to that corner. Goes really wide on that one. And Zilron comes on the inside of him. Taking 2 positions within those S corners.
That was amazing.
That was a hell of a move going through there.
I just saw the openings and took them. The control that he has on that car is amazing here. Absolutely amazing.
Couldn't agree with you more, Rory.
Just wicked driving from him. Keeping that car nice and flat.
And now coming into the tight technical S's. We'll see if Wicked Fast can make a move on to Zilron. Try to reclaim that second
P2.
That second position.
Zilron's doing a great job here, keeping it. Just keeping his head down, keeping it smooth.
In the tight hairpin now.
Almost graceful in that Aston Martin. So.
You know, Rory, that's one thing I do love about these Aston Martins is they have pretty good top end. They have a... Oh my goodness, what happened in the race later here? On board with Fed Morris, coming around toward the last corner, goes onto that curb. The rumble strip gives it a little bit too much gas.
That's fuel.
And away he goes for a joyride into the grass, back onto the track, facing the wrong direction onto the track, and goes back into grass into the wall. So as we see here,
yeah, it just takes it a little bit too wide, clips that curb, and away he goes. Devastating.
That is where your heart rides in your throat and just about tears are coming out of your eyes as a driver there. Wicked Fast coming in for a pit stop here, lap 8. Changing out medium tires. Needed fuel was the main point of this pit stop.
Thought he already came in for a
And
pit.
coming back out now, let's see where he ends up.
We got 2 more coming in. Hard tires. I mean, lap 9. Might as well be switching to medium to keep your pace up.
Porsche having amazing tire wear and cornering abilities with about average top speed.
Yeah, the rear engine makes it nice.
Very nicely into turn 4. Coming up onto Ray Downs here, making a move, made it stick, and then passed is Wicked Fast. Into the tight technical S's. Looks like Gideon is going to be trying to follow suit on Wicked Fast and make a move on Ray Downs, as they're contending in the background there. Now on board with Gideon. Nice and tidy, both drivers, as Clutch gets a little bit speedy out of the exit there and going too wide. Now the sprint up the hill towards the line here to start lap 10.
I'm actually really surprised about how well he's keeping that McLaren flat.
As the Argentinian goes in, lap 10, looking for hard tires. That's a bit unusual. You'd think you'd be on medium, especially this late in the race.
I agree there, Colin. Doesn't make any sense.
I agree with you there, Rory. Now on board with Zilron here on lap 10, coming up to the sweeping right hand into the technical S's. And what a lead he has here. On the rest of the pack, almost a contention for second place is what we're looking at here. Fed Morris in second, Rafa Pinho in third, looking at second place. And Poopgon behind Rafa, trying to see if he can capitalize on a possible fight between the two of them to try to get up into second place.
Keep your head down and nail your lines here. That's pretty much the main strategy.
Now we're coming up to the 90-degree corner, the last corner, then up the hill in the sprint towards the line.
I think the GTR is gaining on that Porsche there.
I don't know about you, Rory, but I do enjoy watching these a little bit longer races that do take more strategy than just the sprint races of about 4 to 6 laps. I believe there's more driver skill involved and more strategy as Rafa goes on the inside of Fedmore's D around T1 to make that move stick.
I agree, Colin. I think there's just more to do with the race in there. I think it's more quality and better for the drivers and the teams, and as well as the viewer.
Rafa with a half-second penalty now served, coming up to P4. I'm sorry, T4. Getting my letters mixed up. And Rhino going on the inside of Clutch. Can't make it stick. Trying on the back straight here. The GTR having tremendous top speed, way more than the Jag. Let's see if he can make it stick. Rhinos is on the inside line for T4 here.
Good bit of driving by Clutch.
It looks like he got him there. Also, again, on the inside, coming into the sweeping right. But that GTR has extreme speed and gets by him there. Rhino's looking, trying to catch back up, back into the slipstream here. Goes wide because of that Porsche coming in on the inside of him there, taking away his line. As we see there, he goes wide, trying not to cause a collision, hopefully hoping for the cutback there, but that 911 did a good job to just park it there on the apex and gave him no room to try to go around, trying to go around the hard way here, and not gonna make it happen. Jaguar just doesn't have the cornering ability or the speed to try to make that happen. And now coming into the 90-degree corner, just about losing it there, hard on the brakes.
Oof.
And the drag race up the hill is Rhinos and that 911 coming towards the start finish for our last lap of the race. .911 still has the inside line here. And Rhinos kind of backs off and looks for the cutback, but the 911 again parks it on the apex and there's no room for him to go. And now Vandemar looks for an opportunity to capitalize on this little fight, to come around him. As Rhinos blocks him there, gets back behind the 911 in front. Slingshots past and carries way too much speed going into 2-4 and goes way wide, wicked fast going off the road here. We were paying too much attention to the battle a little bit further back. Carries way too much speed around that corner, trying to get on it too early to get back in contention for third and spin. So he goes from fourth, now P7, and that's where he'll maintain there. That was a heartbreak. Let's look at it here. Trying to get back onto the fuel a little bit too quick.
Oh, he called it right this time.
And into
Good
the
job,
grass.
Yeah, he upset for the team.
Dropping all the way down.
Well, what the hell is going on there?
P7. Now on board with the Argentinian
Just glitching
here.
like crazy there.
In that fast and technical 911. As Zoran comes up to the line for an very, very uncontested P1
Good on
finish
him.
here. And taking the race win as the race lead. Rafa Pinho 84 coming in for second place. Very much uncontested again. Fedmore D
almost
third
out
in
of
the
fuel there.
911. X Gideon X P4 in that McLaren. And behind him is the Argentinian in the Porsche 911. Poop Gun 514. P5 in the 911.
Oh, messed up.
I'm sorry, P6. Wicked Fast P7. Quasi Wabbit P8. Ariel Pete Mitchell P9. Clutch Release in the Nissan GTR P10. And the Canadian driving the 911 P11. Vandemar Krupp P12. Rhinos Horn Up P13. Don Coco Teso P14. Tiago Paso and all those fours. And the GT4 coming around for the last time in P15 and non-Manuel in the Honda NSX P16. What a devastating race he had. I was alongside again here with Ruari O'More.
Oh, thank you, Colin. Thanks for being here.
Well, thank you, Rory, and thank you, viewers, for tuning in today on the Motor Racing Network, and we hope to see you next time.